I'd like to call to order the Zoning Conservation Commission meeting for July 26, 2023 at 7:03 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Jim Brown, Administrator.
James Gates. This meeting is being recorded. Is anyone else recording? Chairman's additions and or deletions. 3.3 request for land use coordinator for Shared Conservation Authority. 3.4 Mass Wildlife Notice of Withdrawal corresponding with WMA Notice of Intent. And 3.1 will be continued to 8-9 so that a sidewalk can be conducted. Chair report, I attended the Charette National River watershed.
Yeah.
On the 14th of July. Get to put a lot of faces to names. And then site visit to 158 Main Street. 7:23. Before too, but review and approve the meeting minutes from 6/14/23. That one had a chance to discuss.
Good. Let's hear from
Make a motion in a second.
what's the date again? Motion to approve the meeting minutes of meeting 6/14/2023. Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Jim Brown, please. Polish James Steve.
1.6 agents report.
Discovery dates July 13th to today, July 26th. Building permit agency departmental signatures signed off 551 Main Street with an administrative approval. I signed off on 6 Candle Farm Lane and signed off on 238 B South Road. There were no referrals completed. I signed off on a Board of Health interdepartmental signature for 66 Bayberry Hill Road. That's a second septic system that we're covering today's NOI 66 Bayberry. For completed approvals, completed an RDA 486 Main Street and issued a -3 determination. And this was issued July 15th. There's a partial COC issued for 1 West Meadows Estate Drive, issued also on July 13th. And administrative approval for a temporary mobile home at 551 Main Street, issued on July 7th. Current applications, we have an NOI for 158 Main Street. First hearing was on June 28th, and site visits have been conducted on several occasions. NOI for 66 Bayberry Hill Road. First hearing was July 12th, and conducted site visits on July 6th and July 21st. There's an NOI for 56 Bayberry Hill Road. First hearing is tonight, and conducted a site visit on July 21st. There's a partial COC for 7 Riverbank Terrace, and a complete COC for 27 Scales Lane, which will be continued to August 9th. Miscellaneous, there's an enforcement order for 158 Main Street, compliance and inspections are ongoing. An updated enforcement order was issued on July 17th, and this needs to be ratified tonight. There was an intake of a minor stormwater application for 94 Fitchburg Road, formerly part of 96 Fitchburg Road. A site walk visit was conducted on July 20th. Hay bales were installed at 155 Main Street at the to prevent erosion heading towards wetlands. There was a site visit to 16 Meadow Road regarding unpermitted animal enclosure on July 25th. After the site visit, I would recommend that we have the applicants apply for an RDA to move the enclosure. During the site visit, he mentioned that he was looking to take down about 5 small pine trees on his property, and that he'd be willing to move the enclosure to that area once the trees are down, so that could be a joint RDA. I submitted a community grant report, and edits are needed. I have been in contact with WNS about those. The Andre Fishburne property owner is still waiting to hear back about date and time for a wetland scientist to visit the property. I have also received intake of a minor stormwater application for 28 Greenberry Hill Road, and a sidewalk was conducted on July 26th, today. And that's everything.
Okay, just try to roll back this. So quick questions.
Very good.
All right, 155 Main Street. All right, we've got bales down.
Yeah.
Okay, we're buying on there.
No, I had a conversation with Mrs. Wilkins last night to clean up the bottom of the field, get it seeded, and add additional hay bales.
And,
She was receptive.
oh, I wanted to know, so that's being addressed.
She was very receptive.
Okay, because that needs to be taken care of. I mean, twice in this deluge,
Yeah.
18 inches of silt is built up on those 1,000-pound bales. Okay, so that's got to be addressed. Try to go too far on that. Just going back on the scales lane, does that refer to the Kings? No, it's old news, right?
It's, Brett's.
Correct, Kings.
Yeah, well, it's Brett's shop, it's not King Farm.
Anyway, but that's old news, and that we've been waiting for that to come forward for a bit, haven't we? What's the date on that? How far back are we going?
A lot. Jessica might be able to, I guess.
I was just about to interrupt anyway, so thanks. Yeah, there was an order of conditions issued in like 2019. And then last year, you guys actually approved a 1-year extension. So currently, their order of conditions is still active through like November, I think, of this year.
Is there still open for extension from then? Since it's been open since 2019?
No, they filed for closeout. So we'll be processing that over the next couple weeks.
Is everything complete on that application?
I don't know. That's a Matt question.
Yeah. Materials have been submitted. We still do not affected.
Just to finalize, to make sure that it's established, complete, I's and T's and, okay. Trying to clean some of that old stuff up. Move on.
They've been working on
Okay, that's
that.
beautiful.
That has
That's
been
good.
a battle since.
I was still on the commission when that was brewing, going.
It was growing and it's moving, but
Okay.
it's,
That's all right. Let's not waste too much time on that.
they're trying their hardest to like mend them forward and forward.
Yeah. And in Campbell Farm, that's up on North End Road.
Yes.
Is that for the completion of first, second, third, fourth, fifth?
That was for a
Okay, so it's not related to the finalizing and finishing of that 5-minute cul-de-sac, right? Done? Good.
And I have permission to reach out to the owner of 16 Meadow Road and have them file an RDA for that enclosure to move it.
For the chicken.
16 that way, not 60, right?
61.
Yeah, there's no argument from me. That's a no, I'm sorry, that straightforward move on that. I mean,
You need to move it.
well, even, I don't think we need to wait for the pine trees to be cut either. It needs to be dealt with the sooner the better.
The ground is really wet right now, so moving it might do more harm than good, but maybe I can get that.
They can move it.
They can move it. Okay. I'll reach out to them.
That area is definitely uphill from where it is right now.
Yeah, there's so right on the bank, for the, 3, 4, 5 feet from the bank, and then there's like dip, where he put the enclosure. And I think he puts it up on that, or up on the hill there on his property. That's it, it's flood.
Jessica, do you have anything you want to add to the agent's report?
No, I don't think so, but I'll comment on Campbell Farm. They had the conservation restriction was approved. I don't remember on the date, sometime in 2022 already. So that's filed. So that's done as far as Conservation Commission involvement. You guys are in the clear. So now it was just a definitive subdivision and a stormwater permit.
What about that fire pond?
You gotta sign off for that.
That's closed out. Yeah.
It is.
Is that just to the right of it on the way up?
It's on the corner of Ball Road.
Oh,
We
maybe.
can close that out? Okay.
All right.
There's just so many.
Why, somebody didn't want to get called in because he was.
I will check right now, but you guys can continue moving on. I'll interrupt if it's not done, but I'm pretty sure we closed that one out. Yeah. November.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to 2.1, 715, notice of intent DEP number 308-0701 TWB 2023-150, continued from 712, applicant Terrence McGee. Location 158 Main Street, project status, proposed project. Is 47 removal from wetlands and measures to address remediation and stabilization of the slope. Pat, you mind just announcing that you're here at 7:15, please?
Yeah, Pat Chilton here at 7:15. Sorry, everybody.
So let's just go through, maybe ratify that amended. Yep, the person reading it.
Yep, I can be the, So attachment C was sent out on July 17th. Resource area alterations of onset activity, arrangement to involve vegetation removal and subsequent swale regarding shall be corrected and resource areas returned to their original condition. All conditions from attachment A and attachment B remain in effect under the original. 2. Sediment must be cleaned out and removed from the wetlands. The enforcement order conditions may be modified or lifted following compliance with all conditions listed. Notify conservation agent of ongoing maintenance 24 hours prior to and upon completion of any pictures shall be sent to the agent before and after. These updates shall be sent to conservation at times of noon. All existing areas of sediment accumulation adjacent to the rail trail need to be cleaned out no later than the end of day, July 21st, 2020. Hay bales that are no longer functioning for sediment traffic need to be removed and replaced with new hay bales that are safe in no later than end of day, July 21st. All areas adjacent to the rail trail must be silt-free before anticipated major precipitation events. All areas adjacent to the rail trail must be cleared of deposited silt after a quarter-inch or greater precipitation event. Failure to comply with conditions 4, 5, and 6 for the end of the day, July 21st, 2023, will result in the issuance of $100 fine per day starting on July 22nd, 2023. The fine will continue to accrue daily until compliance with these conditions. Failure to comply with conditions 4, 7, and 8 will result in a $100 fine for precipitation event of a quarter-inch or more beginning on July 22nd, 2023. The amount of rain can be determined by following towns of rain gauge identified by the COCO-RA-HS mapping system at maps.cocorahs.org. The Conservation Commission or agent feels that these conditions are not being met and they also require the higher requirements. The Town Conservation Commission has the authority to issue fines for chapter 138-9 of the town.
So that's the amended enforcement order. We need to ratify it. So we need a motion and a second, please. Or questions, or if you want revisions.
Yeah, let's
I don't see a copy of it in the folder.
a few questions before we motion to ratify.
It's in that, as soon as you can get James. I want to read, there's 3 copies.
What's the question, Jimmy?
We understand, as far as the last time I saw it, when I met David Mackenzie down at the end of 7:30 in the morning.
That was this guy, Matt. Yeah.
Correct. I went over there at 2 o'clock, bales were cleaned out, so it was done, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know where it's gone since then. Was it, did the machine go back in? Was it more work conducted?
There was hand removal of the sediment. Yes. From the area. They pulled the hay bales back after we had 2 inches of rain that following Friday. More inches of rain.
I don't know what the heck it was.
Flash flood.
I don't know what the heck.
I was expected, but they just not giving us a heads up on anything, but I wanted.
Where you were, yeah. You
Oh,
were 2 o'clock. You were there till.
No, that was the last, like, Jim was there.
When Jim was down there cleaning it up, Jim's people were down there cleaning it up.
They were actually, the truck was gone, the machine was still there, so I was assuming there was gonna be a return, more work was gonna get done tomorrow or later
They
that.
did both sides.
Correct.
Of it.
Yep.
And,
You have the pictures?
I was down there, they had the hay bales, and I was supposed to put the hay bales out, which they did. But they didn't put as many hay bales out as what I would have done. I had to go up one fall. And we got all that flash flood, so there was some of the hay bales that weren't quite doing their job. I went down there and I put more hay bales out to stake them after that. And I dug with the tractor what little bit of sand that had come through there. I dug that. That was yesterday. That was yesterday.
Yeah, he shovels it into
Yeah.
The bucket?
Yeah.
Harley, if I can have screen share?
Moving forward with that, are the culverts still restricted?
No.
It's washed through?
Yep.
On their own.
Well, after the, and then what else that happened, that were staked that got pushed.
So
Were
staying
restaked
on my
today.
question now, our intentions are to start at the bottom, head to the top of the mountain, correct?
No.
How far are we, as far as you're concerned, getting that berm up? So this isn't gonna keep reoccurring. I thought, we're wasting time. Today. Yeah. And he said, point aside, either end of this week or the very.
Friday, Monday, that's what it's
Because the key to this, from stop a bit of this bleeding into the rail trail, get that area secured, cleaned up ASAP, and get those berms reestablished. Because if you don't, am I not right? History's gonna run, and we're wasting time.
And anything that comes, the water is moving downhill, it's massive. There's no more sediment to come down.
We're happy with at least the water coming down.
I can give you an update if you want, or you want to talk about that.
Well, I just want to ratify the enforcement order and then go to your stuff, and that's where, so we need to.
I got a question about that. You know, that we can try to ratify. So we're going to ratify the deal today, and they could be liable for fines back to the 21st, 21st.
They've maintained it.
And we're satisfied at least up until this.
Up until today. He just went out there today and put it said, poster any event last weekend. And restate the English. Harley, can I screen share?
Harley, can Matt have a screen share? Jessica, do you have anything you would like to add to this part of the discussion?
No, I don't think so. I just want to point out that one of the conditions of the latest enforcement order is to keep Matt notified of when these cleanup activities occur. Because if you guys can send us photographs, that would save us from having to go make a site visit. So I think things would be more efficient.
It's a requirement at this point. I don't have time anymore. So, and these guys have limited hours.
I don't have a problem doing a couple, but I mean, every other week, it's been like a sidewalk, once or twice a week. I mean, I don't mind, give me a call if it's something we really need to take a minute and address. I need to meet Mr. McGee down there, Jimmy Latanzi, Stan. I'll make myself available once a week, 2 at the most, you know, there's other members. All right, so you got my number. Boom.
Don't email. Never get an answer. Do you have anything you'd like to add? So if you get a motion and a second, we'll vote on it, and then we can move on. So Stan has.
All right, I like motion. I motion that we order of conditions and as it stands in violation. And also, any inspection needs to be done, call myself, James, not you.
No, you can call me, but part of the amended enforcement order is before and after pictures sent to us to help.
So it's just when we go down there, I don't have to do it, whatever you say.
If it rains, you don't have to go down there and shovel out anything, take a picture before, and take a picture after.
Perfect, that's fine.
We don't need any pictures of, you know, little finger.
Yeah, you never know.
And
So,
so the enforcement order stands and applies. We still can modify that as we go. There you go. Good enough.
so that was the motion.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the basis. So,
Roll call vote, please. Jimmy?
Jim Doran? Paul Schubert, yes?
James Gates, yes?
Generally, yes.
Yeah, first time, I don't leave because I have stuff to sign.
Sorry, I could have done a little bit of motion on that, but just as long as those particulars were met, you know, for communication, Jimmy Latanza knowing, Dan, et cetera, that's all.
Now we're gonna move on to the notice of intent. Dan Billis is here to update us and don't mind, because there's been a lot of back and forth communication between you guys, us, the state.
So there's been a lot of pretty good progress, like I said. I talked to Jim Latanzi, he's gonna get started rebuilding that berm ASAP. And then I went down and met with, the agent at Endangered Species about the turtle habitat. And she required us, rather than the full-blown habitat with the barriers and everything, if we got a wildlife biologist to do a sweep for turtles, which we did last week. We hired someone to go out and do a sweep. And he reported back to her that he didn't find anything and he thought it was very unlikely that it would be habitat for turtles. She signed off with that in the way she told us she would by email. So, and I forwarded that. Jessica has that email from her saying that she's at this point, she's satisfied. But if anybody trips over turtle when they're doing something, they're going to be notified. But the wildlife biologist didn't think it was
No turtle found in there?
No.
So in other words, they just wanted to pull a species impact on a situation that's in violation and
That's how they do it. But when I met with her, she was reasonable about it. I said, well, it's a boilerplate letter, but it doesn't really apply to this situation. And Jessica talked to her. So they're put to bed. And then Dr. Charest hired an engineer to deal with water on her problem. And I've talked to him and we're communicating, and hopefully we can work together to kind of make this whole thing one seamless event. But can't, we still have to deal with what you have before you. And I think that at this point, if Jim Latanzi can get in there and replace that berm, and then we have an order of conditions, then we can continue right on and keep on going.
Berm is crucial.
Right, and that's, that can get done under the
Just the
enforcement.
one, both of the berms.
Right, both breaks. And that can get done under the enforcement order, and then, once we have the order of conditions, by that point, the berm will be done, and then hopefully we can just keep going right up the hill. Get that mitigated.
Ready to have a timeline?
Well, I think some of that's going to depend on the contract schedule, but I think he's going to want these going.
Get it done.
And I think if he can get in there and just keep going, in my opinion, just keep going.
You know, water quality.
Yeah, and that, we filed for that, and I think you can make that a condition of the order of conditions, because that could take, those things can take forever. I'd have to take a year to get that thing out of DEP.
Water quality,
Because it,
runoff from 119.
no, it's in an outstanding resource waterway, which is this Quantico River, and runoff that contributes to that is subject to a 401 water quality permit. And the regulations, we need one on Bayberry Hill Road, so the regulations are a little bit vague as to, this is like at the very fringe of why you would need one, but DEP's, when they reviewed the notice of intent at DEP, they said we need one, so.
For the
we
year?
filed it for both.
I understand, 150 and 66.
Well, let's keep this to 150 right now.
So we filed for that. And the way that we've done that, I've done that in the past, it's a condition of the order. Yeah.
But the other one won't slow the other one down, because
Oh, no.
those are taken up to 8 months.
They take a while. They shouldn't slow anything else down.
You ever had to change plans after getting the water? No.
Do you feel that you would have to amend your plan or your NOI based on the density, Dr. Shred's proposed plan? She's not in front of us.
I don't know, and I don't think her project is probably small enough that they may not even ask for that.
She's limited to really,
She's limited to 400 square feet or whatever it is on her property.
very minimal.
Yeah.
Very minimal. Okay. And she's actually got an engineer.
Yeah. And I was on the advice of her attorney that she had someone besides me to look at it, so she protected herself.
Kind of victim to the circumstances.
So it's being worked on. I think all the pieces are finally coming together here to get this thing resolved.
So based on the water that we've had over the summer, which I know is not in the norm, do you feel that the berm will hold back enough water to slow it down, but not hold back too much to create a pond?
So at times there'll be some ponding there when we have a heavy rain. That's what it's there for.
But what he's trying to prevent is
There's no way to prevent it. The water's there. And before it went, I think it just spread out over the field when that's where it was vegetated. It went, a lot of it went in the ground. And there's water on the bottom of that field all the way along. So I think that's a normal, that, from what I've seen, that's what's normal there.
well, yeah.
Yeah, the goal isn't to create a pond there that is gonna take away Dr. McGee's agricultural use, but we have to stop the water from going off site.
There was a reason why that berm was put in many years ago. And main berm. It was a reason for it. It is what it is.
So the most recent set of plans, you have an overflow and a detail?
No. Because the berm is,
There won't be any overflow. Overflow won't be a part of.
What if it's like a levee break? What if it lets go or let go? I'm just thinking catastrophic here.
No.
Stan, do you have any idea what they're proposing to do for the berm restoration?
Were you talking to me?
Yeah. Like, do you know how they're, I mean, I'm sure they're not just gonna like highly compact a lot of
No, we have it
stuff.
on the second sheet. It shows how.
So we write down how much, what type of, what kind of pound it, compress it, regularly a pound compress. Is it gonna be rock underneath so we can move through?
That's a good point. That's how it went through before.
Yeah.
What I can do is, we can add.
Matt, are we gonna put the detail up on the screen?
We can add a rip trap over as well.
I'm just thinking,
That if it fills all the
what
way
if we get, that we got an inch, a little over an inch and a half that Friday here. In Pepperell, we had, I think it was 3.5.
Somewhere out Conway, they had 9 inches.
Oh, wow.
I drove through Okemo less than 6 hours before it washed away. And so it happens. Then we're gonna be back in the same boat. I just want to be sure. This is thought out because you're not gonna want to go through it. No.
So we can add we can add a riprap overflow, and I would suggest going it down where that other cut.
Don't put any riprap overflow on those new areas he's reconstructing. They're gonna be weak until Mother Nature compacts them and they get to where they need to be. But as far as the material breakdown, yeah, there's gonna have to be some degree of realization that they're weak points. They're gonna need soil compression, or there's soil compression there. Or they're gonna hold.
If this fills up enough, it will go that way. Because this is lower over here.
Right.
So it won't fill up here and then flow out. If it fills up enough, it'll just flow over.
As it has for many years. And then you like I said, on those new reconstructed areas, you're only inviting a washout. Even if it's large soil piles, I'm concerned, unless it sits for a year, 2 years. So that's no big deal. That's not a problem. But you have a soil breakdown and requirements of compacting, et cetera, because we need, it's a dam area, it needs to hold. He'll understand, he'll go over it with Jimmy.
Yeah, so the notes are, excavate eroded materials beneath proposed berm, plus or minus 20 feet by 180 feet, which seems to be bigger than what's there. And to native material and place non-woven geotextile between native soils and backfill. Backfill reconstructed berm with common fill equivalent to native soils. Eroded materials from the site are not acceptable as backfill. And then 6 inches of good quality loam should be free of large stumps of debris.
And that gets vegetated.
Whatever.
And New England wetlands, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And then, there's a handful of short fence to get.
Quick grab and see, get that seed in, crucial, cut out it. Sounds good.
Cody, Pat.
one thing I wanted to bring up that I think was part of the first meeting, was DEP did have comments. Bring those up, particularly. The applicant should provide the Mass DEP and the commission a narrative plan and supporting calculations demonstrating compliance with performance standards for a border and vegetated wetland as per 310 CMR 10.55. 4. Would that be possible for you to provide, Sam?
I'll have to look at it. But yeah, I can look at that and I feel like I need to get something else. I can do that.
Could you elaborate what that means in narrative plan? Do you know what that means?
Not off the top of my head. I think they just want to make sure that you're doing everything you need to do when you're operating inside of a border and vegetated wetland.
I think Jessica asked us to beef up the narrative a little bit.
Yeah.
Which we did.
Okay. Hopefully that's enough. Okay.
How did the verbiage change? What did you add to it?
I honestly can't.
Okay, so it's
Just
not,
more detailed type stuff,
okay,
which is what you guys have. And those comments were fine about.
I'm good. Now, you got it, you reviewed it, you looked at it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, got what? The additional narrative?
yes, the verbiage,
Matt, do you have that? And do you mind?
I asked, you just said.
You did, I know, and I'd like to hear about it.
Okay, yeah, all right, we have it, so we can treat it out.
Well, I just would rather hear it now. It's the
Yeah, later.
3 months down the road when something has to get taken care of.
When we start to, plant seeds and whatever, plants and stuff, do we know how many it's going to require and what is the fastest plants that will germinate fastest, I guess I would
So the
say.
plan calls for 7 stuccoed over much less than tall, fixed silky dogwood at 3 to 20 feet tall, and 10 red chokeberry at 3 to 4
And
feet
I
tall.
feel that's enough to take care of that.
The disturbed ground will receive New England wetland seed mix and there is an application for that. What is the stand, like an acre or something? Yeah, whatever they recommend. And it has a high germination in the wet soil. So,
They always list the planting schedule on the plans,
so
amounts, plant, everything.
areas A and B shall be seeded with New England erosion control and restoration mix from moist sites or root equal at an application rate of 35 pounds per acre. So 35 pounds per acre. And these can be applied mechanical spread by hand, by bare soil, rigging soil. That's just a detail.
Those seed mixes are designed to cope with storing disturbed areas.
Yes.
So,
And they're
with seed mixes designed to take hold.
Okay.
and they have a pretty high germination,
Yeah.
especially for wet areas,
Right.
where stuff is broad.
Well, in the project narrative, I mean, we just basically give a site description and then what the project is to restore the disturbed area essentially. And then all the mitigation measures that we're proposing, that such as, removing the sediment and, hay bales and the check dams that have been installed and all that stuff.
And the check dams are gonna stay?
No, they're
They're gonna completely come out. Yeah, use that river stone in, trough and care.
Or uses building the problem.
Yeah, but as long as it's 6-7 holes, and you'll get the compression and stabilizing with it, right?
natural heritage doesn't want it to stay there and not really need it. Check it.
They weren't there in the beginning, nor should they be in the restoration.
So one of the things I want to make sure is that the soil that was disturbed on the rail trail property is restored as part of all of this, with seed. Obviously, we can't go adjusting much, but it's
What do you
still.
say? To the right side, left side swale,
Both side, north and south side of the trail. That
in other words, in this four swales. We'll call it half, we'll call it. So,
any disturbed offset.
And now, are they gonna be lined with crushed stone, gonna wash through? You know, is there any other conditions you wanna add to that to
I would love
stabilize
to
it, et
see
cetera?
check dams put in those swales, but, you know, for the time being, slow it all down and to prevent the hay bales from moving.
We have a note.
Yeah.
And to restore the soil to its original condition and have put a check dam on either side of the camper.
Using the 4-inch stone.
Yeah, we're at what, 6+.
2 to 4.
That's what they use.
On some language on the plan,
Yeah,
on schedule.
Yeah.
so it should be noted that once it's vegetated, those check dams are removed. The safe passage of the
Well, how long do you want to leave? The check dams you're talking about going up the grading up the hill, not down on the rail trail side.
No, that it's on the rail trail side.
Okay.
We saw evidence of it during that last big storm.
How long?
It just slows it down and we don't want to see it erode.
I mean, how long can we leave them in there? Because there's a lot of benefit really. Okay, that's what I'm saying. If
They're
they're
in
in
vegetate.
I know, I agree.
if they're in
Jessica has a case. What is it, Jessica?
Dang. You can't propose alterations beyond what the existing conditions of a wetland were. So for both the rail trail work and this work, both delineations, both surveys of the sites indicated that those areas are wetland delineations. So I would not advise that you dump riprap into the channels. I mean, you're already pushing over that threshold for BVW impacts.
What temporary control of the erosion and sedimentation?
I think the hay bales are doing fine in that regard. Of course, this cat. So, what we've all been talking about, once that berm's restored, I would just wait and see how it goes before we dump rock.
I wasn't looking to dump rock, I was looking to leave those berm.
Riprap.
Well,
No, I mean, under the enforcement order, you have to restore it to what its original conditions were, and original conditions were not check dams.
correct.
I mean, you have a pretty straight chute down there on the northern side of the rail trail.
Open rock cannot be reused for doing any of the road control in the deeper gully areas.
I mean, you can like reuse it and recycle where you want, but I wouldn't recommend using it as an alteration.
On the rail. Correct.
Yeah, the riprap.
I think the hay bales are doing a decent job now. I mean, the erosion is happening up in the field, and then the deposition is happening down in the channels. I don't think those are getting super eroded.
Jessica's got a good point. Once the berm is in there, that swale could be cleaned out and revegetated back to its original condition.
The biggest thing, as I started with, if you get the swales in, if we don't get the swales in stable, we're wasting time cleaning the culverts, trying to see, trying to do anything.
So, Jessica, Matt, do we have everything to issue an order of condition? Are you both comfortable with that?
I think probably special conditions. That being said, I'm looking at 1.5, which where we list Wetland Protection Act performance standards, and I'm not seeing anything specifically linking to to 10.55. At least in the version that I'm looking at, I think we're the most updated one. So that might be something that we want to add.
So 10.55.4 is general performance standards for doing work within ABVW. So you just need to show proof of how you're meeting those 7 standards. And when I was on the phone with DEP, and I know Stan and I have spoken about it, the project seems to be meeting those standards. However, there's nothing in narrative form for it. Yeah. But I don't know, like, from like a legal, having it cross over 2 different properties, how that would work. If you would want to issue one big order of conditions and then just between the 2 property owners, they sign some sort of agreement, or if we're issuing 2 completely different orders of conditions for the 2 properties, or issuing one now and then amending it. I don't really know what the plan is. So
You don't know when Dr. Suresh is gonna file.
Are you talking Dr. Shresh, or are you talking Rail Trail?
162 Main Street, Dr. Suresh.
You don't know when she's gonna file, and we wanna just pull.
We should have known, why were you bringing her into this at this point in time?
So we need to address
What
what.
UPA, not Mrs. Charette, we're wasting time with the.
No, well, it all ended up tying together, but if he has a contractor that's ready to go to this, that we cross to get it done, just do what's on the plan. Just figure out what we want the order conditions to be, and let's just keep pushing forward.
Okay, do we need a motion? Do we need a motion on the 1055 in the motion? How do you want this to phrase
That's why
out?
we lean on our support staff for those.
We need like a 2-year-old.
Josh, you just explained it where it's performance standards in the Board of Administrative Methods, making sure you're meeting those standards.
Does it need to be inclusive for the motion?
As a recommendation,
As a
it's
recommendation.
not required.
So you guys feel like is it?
Do we feel that this needs?
All right, put it in. That's what we can move forward with this.
Why don't you throw out a motion and then open it for discussion for what you want your special conditions to be. And then as you're going through your discussion, if it doesn't feel right, you can vote yes or no accordingly. And then based on that, we can go from there.
After the motion, Jessica?
Yes. Yes. Make a motion. Second, then discuss.
So within the motion, we're going to include
Several conditions.
They can discuss it at a later point in time after the motion to see if we would choose to bring it on.
make a motion to approve the plans for.
Issue with CFC. Yeah. Make a motion to issue with CFC.
OOC, not COC. Don't use acronyms. It's too hard. Say the whole thing out.
To approve the order of conditions that follow the plans illustrated in Dillis and Roy plans for 158 Main Street, with special considerations to be discussed later and added if needed.
Be specific to 10.55.
Okay, if we can't figure this out, then we can we need to consider moving on. Now, what is the order, what are the special conditions? Let's outline that. Whatever determination needs to be. Keep going. So, do you want, I'm asking Matt or Jessica, list out the, or what we want our special conditions to be, what our order of conditions needs to be. Someone will say, so be it. Because I think we're all on the same page here. We all want to see this done. Right.
What special conditions I had listed down was the one we just talked about. Applicant needs to provide a narrative plan to supporting calculations demonstrating compliance with performance standards for BBW as per 310.554. And then I also put must follow NHESB guidance provided an email sent from Alexandra to John D on July 24th, 2023. She lists several instructions from the operators on site as to how they should deal with species. 3, applicant must obtain water quality certification and follow all instructions that the water quality certification lays out at a later date. And then I had 1, applicant must continue to clear out sediment before and after rainfall events as described in attachment C of the enforcement order until the work is completed. And then my final one was, it is listed in the plans, but just to make a note of it, is vegetation, 75% of the vegetation planted must survive for more than 2 growing seasons, or for 2 growing seasons before a seed is issued.
I'd also like to add that contractor is to contact and schedule inspections with conservation during phase area A and area B of the project, and be subject to ongoing inspections as needed.
Stearman, with inspections with Jimmy and the landowner, how much of this should be shared on with the commission?
That depends how much.
I'm not gonna direct Mr. Latanzi right to do anything, right? And I'm not gonna do that about the one what the landowner wants. When you want an inspection, I'm going down there, I'll take a picture, and I'm leaving.
That's how it should be.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that's how it needs to be. We as conservation or commissioners, we're overview.
We'll lead and just.
You can go and look at what's going on, but it's the contractor is responsible for doing it correct.
Correct.
And if he has questions, he should contact the engineer.
There's something that's completely egregious to what is being done with the knowledge of the plans that we have. I'll momentarily intercede and refer it back to the agent, Jim, you, so on and so forth. But if I go down there to meet somebody that I'm wanting, it was only to see if they got there, not to direct them in any way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Keep the language is that we only will go down pitches, overview, no comments.
So noted.
Thank you.
Was there anything else you had in that? I'm willing to assume that's what Justin and you had discussed prior to this.
I believe so, but Jessica, anything to add or anything I should remove for special conditions on this, and James?
I found my thought document that I emailed to you just now, Matt. So I'll run down through these. Sorry, they're pretty snoozy. All wetland, okay, never mind. Hold on. Before I start, it has not been hayed yet. Is there a plan to hay this?
He doesn't get in there, it's wet. He was gonna do it that day that we got the rain, but he couldn't get in there after the rain.
So part of it has been, but
Part of
not,
it's been.
not where you were worried about the.
But, you know, he's gonna go in there.
Oh, that, I mean, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's more just to go with my next point is marking wetland boundaries with tall pin flags. So if the hay's still up high, tall pin flags. If it's been cut, then you can put something lower to mark the wetland boundaries. But just to have those noted so that your contractor can exercise caution when he's staging and demobbing. Sorry, I'm still reading through them. If you guys wanted to do some sort of checklist, like actual formal checklist for inspections, you could do that.
There should be a DEP checklist or an MACC checklist for this. I don't want to get too, we've figured it out this far. We've taken pictures and documented everything we can.
Yeah, okay.
You know, we're trying to advocate for the landowner with the state. Let's just keep going.
Okay. Inspections. To be provided with a schedule of work would be nice. Like given 24 or 48 hours notice, maybe before they're going to start working. Because again, yeah, if it's going to rain for 4 days straight.
Which Friday or Monday?
I mean, I can email you what he calls us, but that is what he told us.
I'm gonna show up either Friday or Monday. That's what he just told me.
It's Friday or Monday.
And weather dictates it.
Right.
So,
I see what you're doing.
well, what are we going to do? There's no decrease period, just right line.
Still, kind of under the.
So, Jessica, so a brief schedule, or if there's any major schedule changes.
Yeah, just to communicate with us maybe on days that they'll be working, just so we can poke around if needed. Oh my gosh, I think that might have been it. All the other ones we've discussed. Oh, decommissioning the existing check dams. Those are going to blow out as soon as you start taking those out. So I don't know if there's a method that will work better.
Dewater them and dig them out. Well, that's not a delusion of water, right? So you can dewater it right into the grass, right? And it will diffuse it and
Okay.
will inundate down below, right? That's what you want. I'm sure there's water right behind all those stones.
All right. And then last comment was, I know it was sort of thrown out before, but if there's any interest in wanting a bond for any of this, but
I think we get it done.
okay.
Leave it out.
No, it's,
All right. That's all I had then.
As far as that goes. During motion, do each of these special conditions have to be mentioned?
you can use a general statement. Yeah. Okay. I hope the audio is good.
Yeah.
Jessica, you having a problem hearing tonight?
Kinda. You just sound so, everyone sounds very distant, but it could be because of my headphones. But I did, if the issue was what we just discussed, I was typing as you guys were talking about special conditions, so I have them.
Ready?
Yeah.
JB, take two. Make motion to initiate the OOC on 158 Main Street to adhere to the plans illustrated in the Tilson Road.
Drawing number 7457-RSP, last revised 6/19/23. Titled Restoration Plan 158 Main Street. Thank you.
With the special conditions that were just discussed and will be available in writing.
Great.
Anything else? That was a motion. Second. Thank you.
We have any discussion from the commission?
No. Let's move forward with this.
Matt, Jessica, anything in the discussion?
All set.
Our commission liaison. The public, the property owners. You guys want this done, it's just that as we know, so. We have motion and second on the floor. All the questions, concerns?
Sorry, I have one more, and then I'm done, I promise. How do you want to describe in here as special conditions about tying it to the 162 Main Street?
62?
162.
No.
Well, there's no tying to it. It's
What do you mean,
Or the plan.
152?
162.
the dentist, we're not tying to it.
No, they haven't even completed their engineering at this point in time.
Okay. Oh, I thought we were just going to connect the two pipes. Okay.
You can move on that if they are not in completion.
We value your input. We appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Close it out.
Let's do this. So, okay, roll call vote, please.
Jim Dorian.
Cody Streeter, yes. James Gates, yes. That will need a couple days to get everything all on.
Get it signed and everything. I'll send it out probably early next week.
Try to keep the rest of this a little simpler.
Maybe, we have to close that, we have to close the hearing.
Make a motion to close the hearing for 158 Main Street. DB number 3080701, TWB number 2023-150.
Second. I second that. Roll call vote,
Second.
please. I call second.
I don't think you can come.
I can,
Can
yeah. I can also make motion, but I tried
you?
not
All
to.
right, all right.
Roll call vote.
Jim Dorian,
Yes. Cody Streeter, yes. James Gates, yes. Thank you for your time.
Want to give me a telephone number or call when you're out there, that's the work? Said you wanted to go to the plan? Want to give me a number, something?
I'll give you my business card.
I can give you my number.
We can text it.
Yeah, or you want to reach out to somebody?
It will be recorded.
Yeah.
Good call.
Mr. McGee, Jim plans on being there Monday. Sorry. Doesn't matter, Mr. McGee, Dr. McGee, whatever. He's gonna be there Monday or Friday.
The first that he can get
I'll reach out to Jim Latanzi, so he can give me a buzz if he's gonna go down there, so I can take a look. That's fine.
Even better. I'm sure you have my email somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does, again, the enforcement order still stands until the report is done, so we have to keep an eye on it.
Right now, they're only for Friday.
Right, well, they have to,
But yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
you'll be the.
79 on, I did all the work there. It was from 1979 on.
We're behind you now.
Yeah,
How you doing, all right?
he's all right. Yeah, he's up and out. That's good.
Thank you.
As good as he can be.
Thank you, Dr. McGee.
Thanks for coming.
Dan, I'm sorry I wanted to wait on this one. For Chris is waiting.
Oh, that's right, I can actually help you get back on. Oh, Chris is on before. What?
Right now, you're
66, okay, very good.
2.2, notice of intent DEP number 308-0700 TWB 2023-153, continued from 7/12, and it's 8:07 currently.
So this is a continuation of the public hearing that we opened. We had a sidewalk before hearing, and then we had another sidewalk last week with some of the abutters attended. There were two things that DEP suggested that we extend some erosion controls, which we did on the plan, and we added the utilities, which are going to be underground or will follow the driveway. We need to get a stormwater permit from the stormwater committee, and I'd actually like to continue this till we have that, just in case there's any changes we have to make. We don't have to come back and say, oh, by the way, we have to do that. So, if we can continue, and with this one, we need a full-on permit too, but that's the same issue as before. So, I think I don't think from you guys' perspective, there's anything else that we need to get you, so for you to make your decision, but I just want to make sure that when we do stormwater, we don't have to make, we don't end up making some change that would force us to come back to you and either amend.
Do the stormwater, but if you want to get it out once and be done with it, look at the amount of time it takes.
Not have to come back and amend the order or refile.
So that's why you want to continue this, like, on the basis of looking for water.
No, we need a stormwater permit from the planning board.
Stormwater, we can. Make sure there's a date to go out.
So, but if you have any questions, after the sidewalks and so.
Were the abutters okay after the walk? We won't hear. Okay.
Did you don't mind introducing yourself, right? Your address and,
You're number 40? Okay.
I appreciate the sidewalk and the issue around it on this project. I particularly interested, we spoke about the stream across the property. And you were going to get me a map.
Right. I'd like to make those changes in the last couple of days, so I would do that.
And I specifically would like to see point on the map for B14, C16, stream on that property.
Yeah, they'll show up.
Another thing I mentioned on the sidewalk. On the wetlands bylaws in the township requires consideration of fisheries and wildlife, discussion of the effect of proposed project on these areas possibly. Since I'm abutting and streaming down my property into the pond and lots of wildlife. Be very interested to see.
Decipher what he just explained as far as with fisheries. Do you feel it's a cold water fishery that's running down through there?
I'm reading this right out of the bylaws.
And, no,
It's a beaver pond.
Are you referring on your property or the one that are, or the people that are building on the adjacent part?
It's on my property.
Okay,
The water comes down off of the property. And it runs into the beaver pond.
okay. And your concerns, once again, come to the water quality that is going to be generating, whether it's going to be more water, less water?
I'm wondering what the effects will be. Looking as though it looks like they're doing a great job. But having that in bylaws says it must be included. It's like some kind of protection of fish.
we usually include that in the narrative as part of the performance standards, and in this case, there will be no impact, because it's
Correct.
really not.
Water line
Right,
going in is going to stay exactly going out.
and that's not really the fisheries.
It is not. It is not. It would be completely an intermittent stream that dries up through the summer. Correct?
Not anymore.
Well, it's not, it is an intermittent stream. Oh,
Seasonal?
no, intermittent, not seasonal. So it's really not even correct. It's runoff. Okay. So in other words, it's not supplying that pond. That pond to stay there isn't predicated on the water that is flowing off of the property adjacent to you. So if that was to dry up, your pond wouldn't dry up.
Mainly fed from Baker Hill Brook.
Which is,
Does that run through the property?
no, does not.
Must.
Correct, which supplies, which is the pure pond is there because the, yeah. Yeah. So if you have more questions, I think it would be best to ask Stanley about the performance of how that water is going to flow out of there the same way it came in. That's why the culverts are going to be there, the check dams are there, et cetera, et cetera.
And that's.
He is held to they hold his feet to the fire. So,
And when we file for the stormwater permit, we have to meet a whole other list of criteria that we discussed at that point in time, which isn't germane to the conservation commissions.
from DEP.
Yes.
And how about on our wetland protection act?
We don't, this site does not trigger personal DEP stormwater, but it triggers the town stormwater bylaw.
Right, correct. Because A, it's intermittent, it's not supplying any other water supply, but it is a potable water.
We trigger the land disturbance threshold to meet a stormwater permit.
That's the word we're doing.
We trigger that threshold. So we're in the process of obtaining that permit, so that's why I asked if we could keep this open just in case anything comes up, we have to make any changes. Would you be, it's a public hearing, so you'll be able to attend that and ask questions about that.
And I will be notified of that.
Yeah.
Yes, it always gets sent out as the abutter,
It's similar to this.
which is a green color. Which you will be, does Jessica have your number or?
Yes, I'm sending an email.
So that you will get a heads up and you can come in. If you need to do more homework on this, on and on it goes.
Going in for the, yes, for the stormwater sidewalk too. So that's
Right.
us.
Because the first sidewalk was strictly for the water runoff that we looked at. Which at the time when I walked out there, which was what, the 21st? No, it was before that. It was before that. It was 17.
Oh, it was way, yeah.
Which we were it was a strong water presence up there. Which now I think if we were to go, when you went back out there for the 21st, how was the water running? Was it still water? It was still water flowing. But if you know the property, which it seems like you do, well, you know that's intermittent. That's probably going to shut off of them. If we get into a good dry spell, that would probably be shut off in another week, 2 at the most, I would assume.
In many years past, more than 20, yeah, that was the case. Dry out pretty much.
Absolutely.
Doesn't do that anymore.
Everything's changing. I mean, my irrigation pond right now has got water trickling through it. Where at this point in time, in July, going into August, I'd only be drafted 4 to 6 feet of water at best. But it's actually got a little trickle going through, so we're missed a lot of different time right now. But are there any other questions? Anything that Stanley can enlighten you on as far as you're concerned with the water flowing through?
We talked about it some already, and this is making sure that we're said fisheries and wildlife must be added. I was curious about what would be added.
What would be added? Well, I didn't hear. What did you say?
Because it's in our bylaw that it has to be taken into consideration.
If it's, and in this case, fisheries is irrelevant, because that's not a fishery. And the wildlife is.
I haven't seen so much wildlife since I can remember, and it's all.
And it's almost 15 or 16 acres and it's 2 houses, so it's not a huge impact.
It's not NHTSP species.
So in other words, we're not looking at any particular species out there that's been identified that's
It's not
in that regard. There'll be no breaching of a beaver dam going on out there because there is not one there. So you're concerned really just water flow going through onto your property.
Yeah.
All right. Are you satisfied with the engineering that he's inviting you on?
I'm not to explain to you, not a very specific question.
There'll have to be a more detailed review of the stormwater when we file a stormwater permit, so we should come to that, if you have any questions.
Will that be the next meeting, Jim?
Yes.
Which is going to be what, August
9th. So we need a motion and a second to continue this hearing to August 9th,
7:15 is what step.
7:15 p.m. Yes, sir.
We're going to continue this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Notice of intent DEP 308-0700 DBW 2023-153, 66 Bayberry Hill Road. There will be another meeting on August 9th, 2023. Obviously, Stanley, you will be there to increase all the knowledge on this, and you'll be notified.
At 7:15 p.m.
Yeah.
You guys made the motion, we need a second. Roll call vote, please.
Jimmy, yes.
Coach, yes. James Gates, yes.
That's all.
Thank you, Stan.
You guys are coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, you there?
Same here.
Okay, just making sure you're awake.
Yeah, I don't think my video's working for some reason.
Well, we don't see you thinking that.
Yeah, I turned it on. I'm in the process of moving my computer, so this is my first time trying this Zoom since I moved the computer. So I don't know if I mixed something up or something, but hopefully,
Well, we
if I
can
try.
clear on the ink now. That's good. So we need a motion to open the hearing and, well, that you need to read that first part.
Sure. Pursuing the Massachusetts recognized and Conservation bylaws.
Go ahead.
The Conservation Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, July 26, 2023 at approximately 8 o'clock p.m. The hearing will be held virtually via Zoom meeting and in person at Town Hall on a notice of intent filed with the Conservation Commission by David Jakubiak. The property is located at 56 Bayberry Hill Road, Assessors Map 17, Parcel 6. The proposed project involves construction of a new house within the same footprint as the existing house and the installation of a septic system to replace the existing house system. Parts of this project will take place within 100 feet of a bordering vegetated wetland and within 200 feet of a river frontage. Parties wishing to speak in support of or in opposition to the application may do so at the meeting or in writing prior to the meeting. Copies of this application are available for review at Town Hall during business hours.
Motion to open the hearing for the notice of intent for DP number 308.
You guys will be on time.
Sorry.
TWB number 2023155 for 56 Bayberry Hill.
So the DEP number is 308-0702.
308, what again?
0702.
02. No, that's the last, right next to 66. Second.
It's next to the greenhouse, isn't it?
Okay.
Roll call vote, please.
Oh, sure, yes.
James Gates, yes.
And Joanne,
Chris McKenzie, from Gillis, is here to represent this. Chris,
Good evening.
thank you for joining us.
Stan had told me he was going to bring by some revised prints. Wonderful. Can I try to share my screen?
Harley, can Chris McKenzie have screen sharing, please?
I just did. He should be able to do it now.
Thank you. If not, I don't know if you can read it. Matt, you might need
I
to.
need to look, I can see what we got going on in this.
Yeah. It's not letting me share.
Or else let me share it, so. Matt, do you have a copy of this? You can pull up. Yeah. Chris, Matt's gonna pull it up.
Okay.
Do we have the latest PDF or latest map in PDF though?
I just sent it to Matt just before the meeting started a couple minutes ago.
Perfect.
You should have it.
Okay. Let me, oh, yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
There we go. Matt, can you zoom in just a little bit on the plan view? Part of it. There we go. Oh, yeah, somewhere in there. Maybe back out one little bit. Yeah. All right. So you can see.
That's good.
I made the change that we talked about with the wetland flags down in the eastern side of the western side of the property, extending them down to, I call them a wetland flag B1A and B4A, and extended them out to where we talked about. The buffer zone for the 50-foot buffer, of course, still rides right along the edge of the system there. And left the erosion control barrier shown here, and then you see a 100-foot buffer shown. The house is actually outside the 100-foot wetland buffer zone. It's only within the 200-foot riverfront, which is this far line just out past the well. So the existing house is going to be taken down. Those of you that were at the site walk saw the dilapidated condition of it, but it's going to be replaced in the same footprint with a new septic system installed in this location. It's a Presby system. We'll be asking for a couple of local upgrade approval things from the Board of Health. We're less than 100 feet to a wetland, obviously. We're 51 feet. And then we're going to be a little bit off the distance from the well. Also, we're supposed to be 100 feet. We're going to be 86 feet. So this kind of really jammed right in there to the only available area. We show an erosion control barrier going around the system area and out towards the street. And I added in, if you pan down a little bit, you'll see I added in the siltation barrier that we spoke about as well, showing a silt fence and wattles, straw wattles as part of the erosion control barrier going through that area. Just over to the right there. There it is.
Walls, state, comments.
There was a comment I saw in the DEP file number letter regarding the riverfront area stuff. This really falls under, it doesn't really even fall under redevelopment. It's really a septic system repair to repair a failing system. The house is being rebuilt in kind in the same location, most likely with a new foundation, yes, depending on the condition of it. But I would assume they'd want to replace that. The building inspector probably wouldn't let them reuse the old one.
Chris, Ginger already has a question.
Sure.
This isn't a repair, you're putting a Presby in, so it's a complete redo, not on where the old existing system was, or from where the existing system was, correct? Away from?
It's in the same area. We're not 100% sure of the exact extents of the existing system, but it's a septic system upgrade. We're asking for variances from the Board of Health that you would not be able to get if it was not a septic system upgrade.
Okay, why did you go with a Presby? Size constraint?
Yeah, for the most part. I don't know if we sent you the page 2 or not. We show when we use a Presby system, we're required to show that a conventional system could be installed for the same property, which I believe it showed. Let's see on mine here. Yeah, it showed 3 trenches, and the extent of all the grading went more or less almost property line to property line, and then filled right in down past that 18-inch maple, or just about at that 18-inch maple. But the Presby system's also about a foot lower in profile than the conventional system would be.
All right, so it worked in the footprint better.
One thing I wanted to bring up too is we're having discussion as to what the fees would be. Because you could argue that this is either an existing single family house or it's a new single family house.
New.
Okay.
New.
Well, it's an existing house. They're just repairing it, and unfortunately, the repairs mean repairing everything.
They're gonna keep the foundation?
I don't know if the building inspector will allow them to do that.
No, unless they leave up an existing wall in the original foundation, can you do it that way? That's gonna fall under the guidelines of a new house.
Well,
Especially if the building inspector's not gonna want to keep the foundation, then
Correct. It's a new build.
it doesn't fall under the new construction category. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to put a system. We wouldn't be able to do anything on this property. There's no place to put a septic system that would meet code requirements for new construction.
A new replacement.
this is gonna be the norm.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I just clicked, yeah.
we're gonna start to see this more and more.
But I'd like to understand if the building inspector is gonna require him to leave the original wall up, or it's gonna be brand new concrete floor
Yes,
completely.
that's, I agree with you.
So is it a new house build, or is it
A new grandfather footprint, and if you're replacing the entire foundation, that's different. You're not. I wanna lean on our liaison here, just what his thoughts are.
Project right there.
And we're gonna see this more and more and more.
My opinion would be if you want a rebuild in the same footprint would mean you're leaving something there to build off of. If you tear it completely down, you start from the ground up, the footings, the foundations, that's not a rebuild.
We're not proposing an addition. This is not an addition. I know typically the rules you're talking about, remaining walls and stuff like that, is typically a situation where you're building a new house and trying to attach it to an old one, and it's basically considered an addition to the existing house. There's no addition being added to this house. It's going to be the same footprint.
We understand that, Chris. It's a matter of, Matt, there's a fee schedule question, and if he's gonna do the septic, we really can't comment on the septic design or their fee schedule. This is, it's within our, it's,
The fee can be defined, soon as he defines whether it's a concrete foundation is new, in all the building of a building is new. Then the fee can be defined.
That's what I wanted to leave it up to the commission, because in our fee schedule, we have a column for existing single-family house or farm and a new single-family house or farm. It seems like you have arguments for me either, but
I don't see an argument.
I don't see it. If you're the existing foundation, that's a new construction.
If it's being, they need to refer to the building inspector. In my view, and I've been in the construction when the foundation's been replaced and rebuilt, all the way up. If that concrete stays in existence and you have to repair all of the lumber except one wall, that's a redo.
I'll tell you right now, the top of the concrete elevation is the existing one and the new one aren't the same. So we're going to be pouring a new foundation.
So it's a new foundation. You can formulate the fee
I
now.
was referring right to the building inspector and say, yes, a new build. Oh, there is an acting building inspector.
He'll explain to you if it's going to be a complete rebuild. Is it?
Eric is no longer,
When did we leave it? About a month and
he's no longer here, but there is an interim, there is a version.
I'll stop and see Janet. That's fine. She's still here?
Yeah, he's in.
Can I ask, Chris, I have a question for you, this is Colby. Just so I understand this project a little better, am I looking at two separate properties here?
What? How so?
Is this another? I see this on the top property.
No, so just,
Property there.
where the garage is, the garage on the right-hand side.
Right. I don't believe that's actually on the property.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Okay.
It's on the abutting property.
All right. Then I don't have any other questions.
Jessica, do you understand where I'm curious as to what would be a rebuild or a new building?
Yeah, because I'm the one who opened this can of worms. So I'm not throwing in anything.
Well, yeah, I haven't looked at the fee amounts or anything. The house is only in the riverfront area. It's not in the 100-foot buffer zone. So what kind of fee are we talking about? Do we know what that amount is? Like I said, I haven't looked at it, so I don't know.
So for existing, it's $100. For a new single-family house, it's $150 plus $1.25 per foot of new delineation.
That's in the riverfront area?
You're in the riverfront, you have a 25% surcharge too. Don't forget.
But again, it's not in the wetland buffer zone. It's only in the riverfront.
Right, the river applications happening in the ACEC or the riverfront area are subject to a 25% surcharge in our wetland bylaw fees.
I see.
Do you know your approximate linear foot of delineation?
Of wetland?
Yeah.
I don't know what that linear footage is. Well, how does that apply?
So the fee schedule, there's a base fee of $150 plus $1.25 per foot of new delineation, under 20 feet. Okay.
That's just a guess. Yes.
Okay. Well, what's the width of that parcel there? That's 139. No, I think you're about right. So. Oops. Hold on, I'm trying to do some quick math.
Just as long
About
as
another 300 total. Oh, plus the 22%. Hold on.
Probably around 400, Chris, would be my guess.
Wow. That's, that seems like a lot.
Says it on the plan.
It seems like a lot since the fee we already paid was, 345, including the local and the state fee, right?
Okay, but I'm gonna have to read it.
This would, that's just going on where our fee schedule at.
We know what he's paying, that's okay, we're all set.
So Chris, I understand. So this is the fee that you guys already paid was primarily the state, the WPA fee. So a portion goes to the state, a portion
Right.
goes to the town, and the town fee goes into our WPA, the Wetland Protection Act fund, which is used for, you know, training and the bettering of our town wetland regulation and protections. The towns and wetland bylaw fees are separate. You know, a lot of which goes into staff time for processing this stuff. And then, yeah, I mean, other general wetland protection measures that we try to implement in town. So,
I would say.
Right. So we paid $125 local fee.
So we're
So far.
So your original fee that was existing would have been 125.
Right. So I'm a little surprised that it'd be that much more of a fee, several $100s, for a house that's just simply in the riverfront area and not in the buffer zone. It seems, like a pretty high number.
It's a new building. That's what defines the amount of money. It's
Right. No, I understand that. But, you know, again, as I said, this property couldn't be built today by current new construction building requirements. It wouldn't happen. You wouldn't be able to put a septic system on this property.
I think that's why it falls under the guidelines of you are rebuilding in the footprint of an existing building. But you are replacing it as a new building. That's why it increases. The language states right on the print, it's a new building.
Let's move on.
So, I think we need to continue this until we have building.
It's black and white, it's a new building. And what the fee dictates to him, Matt knows, and will tell him.
Make a motion.
Okay. Okay, notice of intent, DEP 308-0702, TBW 2023-155, David, 56 Baby Hill Road, proposed project involves construction of a new house within the footprint of an existing house and the installation of a septic system to replace the existing failed system. So there's your motion.
To approve it?
To approve
With the standard order of conditions.
standard order, correct. I didn't know, I need.
Attachment B. Attachment A.
And then I had
With.
two potential conditions too.
It's gonna
What
be.
about the fee schedule? Let's figure that out. It says it on the
It goes under.
new construction. It says it on the agenda. Okay.
That's all. He is replacing under the footprint of an existing building. He's not building on anything that is existing. It's new construction, just working over the footprint of the existing.
Now, what were your two special order conditions?
So one of them was based on the DEP comments. Applicant must provide a narrative explaining how the project complies with 310 CMR 10.585 A to E. And then two was there's a good amount of debris and trash in the wetlands themselves. So the question should be applicant must remove any trash or debris inside the riverfront area and dispose of it offset. But it's up to you.
So noted, which will be in the order of conditions moving forward. Are there anything else other than, I mean, usually when you redo a whole footprint, all existing is removed. Septic debris, house debris, concrete debris, anything that is in conjunction to an existing cleanup. I mean, that's follow through language. I don't think we would have to, but if you feel as though we need to implement a little more language. Okay. Just wanted to understand the mechanism.
Jessica, do you have anything to add to that?
What?
Anything to add to that, Jessica?
No, I think, yeah, removing the debris just inside the buffers is important. But I mean, like I said earlier today to you, Matt, that if they're going to sell this for somebody, they're probably going to clean up all the stuff anyway. But making that a condition is good. I did just want to note that, you know, Chris was mentioning that everything's just in the riverfront area and not the buffers. The entire septic system is within the buffer of that small isolated wetland, which I know is not a state jurisdictional feature, but it is still a town jurisdictional feature regardless of its size. And unfortunately, the way our bylaws are currently written, septic is not an exemption like it is in the WPA. We know it's a necessity, obviously, but it's not just an exemption that, you know, can be kind of wiped off. So that's the way it is. That's how the bylaws are written. So we just have to uphold that.
Yeah, I don't think we're asking for anything special with the system.
No, I mean, I agree. You're doing as best as you can, squeezing what you can.
And I didn't mean to imply that other parts of the project were not in the buffer zone. Really, the only part of the project that is out of the buffer zone, but in the riverfront, is the house.
Sure, yeah. And then I do know, I just remembered you guys, I think Chris requested a waiver to impact within the 35-foot buffer, so that will need its own separate motion to approve that waiver.
Yeah.
So you had your hand raised. No, just listening, understanding, but no, just.
Sorry.
Yeah, so what is the waiver exactly for within the 35 foot?
There's going to be some grading required for the septic system in the 35-foot buffer zone.
That you want, there's a waiver on it for the 35
You're
feet.
requesting one, and I wish it should have been on the agenda, but not okay, you, Matt. Just so it's nice, black and white.
Moving forward, Mom.
Yeah, any sort of waiver.
Okay, sure. I can do that.
Because if someone wanted to request that,
It gives you,
it should be black and white.
everybody wants a waiver. So you got one motion on, you got that, Bill?
You kind of opened the motion already. Do we need to close that?
We need a second and vote on it, and then we can vote on the 35 foot.
Okay. So I'll second the first motion.
Okay, so roll call vote, please.
Jim Durham in favor.
Colby Suter, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Jones,
Now we need a waiver for 35 foot, within the 35 foot buffer for associated grading to the septic systems. Chris, how far into the 35 foot buffer does this go? Probably a
Probably,
foot, 2 feet.
probably closer to 10. There's a small little change in the contour line. The 176 contours got a slight amount of fill way at the tail end of the thing. And that's probably about 10 feet. into the 35-foot buffer, so we're probably 25 feet away.
Jessica, Matt, are there anything that should be noted in our motion to waive this? No. Okay, so we need a motion and a second.
All set?
Motion to remove the waiver for
Grading within the 35-foot buffer.
creating within the 35-foot buffer for AWB 2023-155 with contingency 6 changes for the road.
Second, anyone?
Second.
Yeah, Joel, second. Roll call vote, please.
Jim Durant, yes.
Holy Spirit, yes.
James Gates, yes.
That's all, yes.
Yep. So we
Motion to close the hearing.
DEP number
DEP 308-0702, BDRU 23-155.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
That's all, yes.
Holy Spirit, yes.
Jim, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Good.
For the next couple of days or early next week.
Thank you, Cole. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much. Everybody have a good night, please.
You can do.
Thank you.
Thank
Did you find the building? Right.
Yeah, we can, yeah.
Building inspector? Or you
No, it's already figured out, new construction.
So we have considered the infrastructure stuff.
Right,
Get the money, then he can get his paper.
correct.
Are you okay to continue
Mhm.
this stuff out and move it?
Yeah. Just a couple months.
Anyone else need to do that?
No, so move on. How did you get the impression that wasn't new construction? I don't understand that. Says it right
State
on.
guidelines. I think it's state guidelines, you're in the existing footprint, it's not considered new construction.
But this is a,
town fees that we don't follow.
it's a real thing. How many houses is coming for now and rebuilt?
No, I didn't say exactly what you said. I'm sure I wanted to burn out and say, define it. It is what it is. If it's a horse, it's a horse. If it's a chicken, it's a chicken.
I would have, in that hearing, that public hearing was for the working and all that. But we never said anything about a waiver of the 35.
Yes.
And so that wasn't publicly
Disclosed, because I'm sure we would have had it on. And it needs to
Even
be
when it
disclosed.
comes to that word, that draws in, and draws attention.
But, and some other people could say, well, you never said you can vote.
Right, and you can't go on the premise where it was only 35 feet. It was only 18,
Doesn't matter.
You know what I'm saying? So you,
except for that residence.
if you set a public notice, just like the board of selectmen.
Yes, and you done so, she know you did.
Talking about. And this is all we can talk about. But something like public notice without
Publicly noticed.
publicly notice, that could be in all of the stuff.
Yes.
So Julie noted that and acknowledged that there was an oversight for it not being
The way that they.
publicized. And moving forward, we need to be diligent of that.
Where was the 30, where was the waiver? Where was it at? Where,
Should have been in the public notice.
Yes.
And they were asking for also asking for a 35-foot.
so Victor, once again, assuming it was upon the engineer just now to add it, or was it,
We write our own public notices.
so Matt, we should have.
I mentioned it's within 100 foot.
It doesn't matter.
I specifically mentioned, I'll do that for about 35.
Okay,
anything with the 35 feet.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was through
Go
ZBA, who didn't put the waiver in.
It's fine that if people are passionate about it. They're right,
And they will put it, and they will,
but I also don't,
They'll read that motion, that public notice, and, oh, well, I want to know what that's about.
Yeah.
But if you don't post it, and they
it's
get,
acceptable for,
then you say, okay, now I'm gonna add this on the public hearing.
so, again. What are you doing? What you said?
I have to.
Thank you, Joe. Again, we're not trying to, there was not an intent.
Like I said, don't go around. Yeah.
Because that, some of the comments I was,
Right.
and it wasn't on the public notice, I didn't know.
you
Is that correct, Jessica?
Wait, Jessica, did you hear that conversation?
I am not hearing what you guys are saying. Nope.
We're discussing the 35-foot waiver not being included in the legal notice.
Okay.
Because it opens us up to, well, how does it say without getting so probably into trouble?
Aggrieved persons. I don't actually know. That would really be a town council question. I mean, we can look at what planning board does, because I know frequently waivers are requested for them. And so I don't know if those are written into the legal notice or not.
But the 35-foot is like the holy grail,
I know.
Townsend.
Don't worry too good. I would. Thank you, Joe. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Great job.
I guess we'll wait for Pat to come back. Maybe Joe will check.
I was going to ask if someone could check on her.
Catherine B is the biggest. most important.
Hey, Jimmy.
You guys know I'm ignoring you, right? Just like,
Here she comes.
she just shuts her computer off and doesn't,
You guys are on video. Please be kind.
yeah, so.
All right. 3.2, request for partial certificate of compliance, 7 Riverbank Terrace, DEP number 080629.
So you guys remember this one? Deborah Alameda, I believe her name was, requested, she was the original applicant for the OOC. And then I'm reaching out for, expired OOCs where they haven't, submitted for a COC. We contacted her, and then it was kind of put, it was in limbo because she refused to pay the fees, and technically we don't have a legal right to go after her for the fees after 2 years after she sold the property. It becomes the new property owner's responsibility.
Title search.
Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't catch her in the title search when they bought the property. But been in contact with Mr. Liddy over email and by second letters, and he's given us approval to continue the request for COC, and he paid his portion of the fees. I still haven't heard word from 9 Riverbank Terrace, but he filed for partial COC for 7 Riverbank Terrace. I've given back the site. I know Jessica has as well. It's completely settled, obviously. It's been years. So I recommend issuance of the partial compliance. If you want, I can post, I have the files on the one drive if we can pull anything up.
No, there's nothing, standard. It's minutes for Lawrence Ruby's behalf, so.
Correct.
He's willing to take care of this portion, so let's just move it along. Motion in a second, please.
Request for partial certification of compliance of Riverbank Terrace, DEP 3080629
on Lawrence Libby's behalf.
on Lawrence Libby's.
Yep, keep going.
All right, Lawrence Libby's behalf. Motion been made.
Second, roll call vote, Jimmy.
Yes, Jim Ryan.
James Gates, yes. Yep, we'll do that at the end of the meeting. We started these on Wednesday. Planning board and our plan for 169 Main Street. 3.3. What? 3.3, sorry. What?
Oh, 3.2.
So yeah, 3.3, request for land. Yes.
I didn't know I had the 3.3.
Yeah, we did, and I did write it down, but it's written down on top of it. But Matt's a good guy.
Is this separate, 77 Riverbank Terrace? That's separate than 27 Scott, right?
Yes.
Correct. Do we need a motion for that?
We just
No, we got rid of it at the beginning.
Everything scale just continue. Because we're not
That's what I asked since 2019 has been lingering, cleaning it up.
Yep.
I was in the beginning, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
So 3.3, yeah, was a request from land use coordinator for sharing conservation authority.
Yeah.
So I have the letter now, if you want to read it.
Application might be going on 169.
Well, no, just ignore that right now.
Let's go off of it.
No, just give me a minute. I jumped ahead of myself. So 3.3, request for land use coordinator for shared conservation authority. Should make just a review, but I won't. Sure. No, she isn't.
All right. This is from Townsend Conservation Commission.
No, it's from the land use office. Do you want me to read it?
I got it. Office of Land Use dated July 24th, 2023. Greetings. This request is being made to the Conservation Commission. By means of this letter, I am requesting permission from the Commission for shared authority as it pertains to the conservation agent's roles. This may include, but is not limited to, corresponding with applicants, permittees, application processing, issuing of administrative approvals, conducting site inspections, handling enforcement matters, issuing of emergency certifications, etc. I appreciate your consideration of this request, respectfully. Jennifer Consalvo, Land Use Coordinator. Jessica Consalvo, excuse me, Jessica.
So glad we're your entertainment.
This is great. My kids have been asleep since before the meeting started, so like this is the real thing tonight. But it's okay. I won't hold it against you, Colby. It happens a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Actually, yes, more than one of you have messed up my name. But
Genu stuff. I think we're all exhausted and, so
there are too many Jims and Jameses anyway, so you guys just make it too easy.
we need a motion to approve this and a second and a vote.
Motion to approve Jessica Consalvo's request for permission from the Conservation Commission for partial shared authority.
Yeah, you're good.
Is that good?
You're good, man. No, we're all tired.
Right.
I'm hungry. I haven't even been home yet.
Second, thank you. Ready to know.
I think that covers it. I just read it.
Good. Smooth.
Roll call vote. Jimmy?
Cindy, yes.
Colby Shooter, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Thanks, guys.
Jimmy,
Yeah, okay.
You didn't give us enough lines to sign.
You can just sign if you want
I'm just gonna
on behalf of the commission.
No, they're all
The
signed.
date?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just one copy. I didn't do 4, so.
Are you sending it to the state?
I can, yeah, and record it.
Copy will be ready in 5 to 7 business days. 3.4, Mass Wildlife Notice of Withdrawal Correspondence, WMA Notice of Intent. This is sent to Jessica. I assume you guys have notified Mass Wildlife the change of roles.
No, I just emailed them repeatedly after the last few weeks asking a status because we had them still scheduled for a September hearing.
Awesome.
And so he first sent a petition for continuance to September 2024. And then I let him know that there's still several insufficiencies and they have an incomplete application. So if they would rather withdraw their application, they can. And then he sent back this notice. So
The withdrawal of notice of intent. Please ignore, and this is dated July 25th. Please ignore the petition for continuance sent earlier today upon further consideration. The director has determined that it is in the division's best interest to withdraw our notice of intent for the project at Squanicook River WMA and Shirley and Townsend at this time. Best regards, Hawthorne Habitat Program Manager. No, that's, no, did they send this letter to Shirley too? I hope.
they did. Yeah.
That's the only point I was gonna make sure everybody has gotten correspondence.
I think they've sent us several of those before addressed to me, so I'm sure they just had a template, which is why my position is incorrect.
It's all over the details.
Mm.
Okay, A&R or 4.1 planning board A&R plan for 169 Main Street.
And you want a septic review?
No, it's an A&R plan.
They're splitting the lot into two lots.
You know what now again? I'm sorry.
They're splitting the lot into two lots. And the planning board approved it, so approval not required, so.
No, so they're not in any jurisdictional riverfront anywhere?
I looked and they aren't, but even if they were, they're just splitting the lot. They're not doing any work right now, they're just splitting the lot.
Okay, so it's, you, there is two, whatever.
No, there's wetlands for lot 2, but.
Oh, there is, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're correct. So if they do work on that second lot, they would have to notify us.
So in other words, they can split the lot and regardless of any wetlands being on there, that's just, okay. For whatever reason.
They're not changing anything topography of that, they're just saying this lot is not two lots.
So at some point,
So it goes from street number 142 plus another street number to 140. You know what I'm saying? If they're splitting the lot.
you talking about street number, did you want to mail Christmas card?
No. My point being, if it separates as a lot, is there 200, is it predicated on another house lot being put in there?
I'm assuming it is.
Presumably eventually, yeah.
We're looking for Kobe.
Nothing.
The question, Jim, is it just curiosity, is why are they coming from the board to split the lot?
They're not in front of us. This is just a correspondence.
Yeah, planning board.
Okay.
Neat.
So no, it's just formality, they have to kick it up to us, they don't have all the board.
Exactly.
So it's 60 to us.
Yeah.
So, and give us a heads up, you know, because there might be a house might sort of change a lot of stuff.
Okay. Education, MACC always has stuff. Does Natural River, the thing we went to, the shrine, have either of you two received any correspondence from them?
I haven't.
Because I haven't.
It's for.
They said they were gonna email something out, but
No.
I haven't actually.
All right, I just didn't know.
Oh, Sorry, someone should have mentioned the North County Land Trust in Howard Park, because that was CONSCOM related.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're listening. You have our ears.
That would have been an agent or a chair report thing.
So we met with the land steward with North County Land Trust. She introduced herself. We introduced ourselves. We walked with property that the conservation owns. Yeah, they just, I don't know, networking. How do you want to describe this?
Well, they just acquired a parcel next to Old Meeting House Road. And she was inquiring about sharing a kiosk that is owned and operated allegedly by CONSCOM to distribute educational materials and trail materials. So we want to try to partner with them to do that. But it's more just an FYI, but Old Meeting House Park is CONSCOM land. So just keeping you guys in the loop. So I think we'd like to try to do, because it was a mess out there, so we'd love to try to set up some sort of trail maintenance day in the fall.
Was it from the four-wheelers, Jessica, or was it just?
No, it's just overgrown. I can't imagine those trails have been maintained. So.
Items for discussion at next meeting. The 66 Bayberry Hill was continued. Matt, do we have anything else? The ongoing enforcement at 158 is going to have to be included.
Oh,
I'm sure we'll have a report back. And that can get buried into a work session now.
158?
We still have an enforcement order on it.
Correct. The enforcement order is in our favor. That's what allowing us to keep going with that.
So can that be put into the work session versus hearings and appointments? Figure it out. I'm not going to worry about it. Just because we're going to have to get provide updates. So anyone else have anything to add? If people know of anyone that would love to donate their time to join us every couple of Wednesdays.
For what?
Our misery.
Yeah.
Conservation. We have two members, two with vacancies.
We have two right now.
Two. Maybe Mr. Smith can join us again.
I don't know why I asked you. You had a reply. But can I just, Jessica, chime in about what you think about this? I'm kind of amazed at 158 Main Street, how this is just snowballing into all, species impact, can't do this now. I've never seen so much bureaucracy over just trying to fix something and get through it. How does Natural Heritage want to come in there and do? There were no turtles seen in there.
So
it was drawn to their attention, and when something gets their attention, is it just normal protocol? They want to stick their fingers in there?
So when I spoke with NHESP, the same woman that Stan met with last week, she had no idea that this was an enforcement property. So that was one of the things that I had requested the applicant beef up the application with that information, because in the NOI, there's nothing noting that it was an active enforcement case. So they just, do their normal processing, see an application, it's in Habitat, this is what we're going to require of them. So once I spoke with her, and then when Stan met with her, that's when they changed the monitoring requirements.
No.
So I think it was just poor application.
Okay.
So Yeah, and I mean, that's what happens. The application gets submitted to DEP and then to DEP, and then also to NHESP if they need to file. And then an application gets to us. If we're doing a completeness review, we'll require 7 more things. That new application does not get sent back to DEP. So then DEP and NHESP are both reviewing an old invalid application. So there's a disconnect there, and I don't know how to fix it, but.
There is I, for the life of me, would expect for us to have their cooperation, and they would probably want to work some expedience in for us so that it's.
We also have an applicant that thinks that we're the ones causing all this misery for him when we're trying to be his advocate.
He
for the
has
state.
to see what's going on. He has been to these meetings, he's not blind to it. He should be able to understand, the point being is, these entities should work with us in cooperation, hand in hand for expedience to get it done. Instead of saying, well, it could have, should have been a turtle there. Water purification report, those take a lot of time for what?
So what does some keep washing into the.
Too much bureaucracy. It makes, nobody benefits from it, not even the environment.
And that's
Thank you.
one of the reasons I joined the commission.
I truly do.
There's too much. There just needs to be a streamlined process with due diligence.
And that just creates disconnect with the client because he's fed up with all half of it they don't comprehend and they don't understand. The different abbreviations, the different committees and the, natural headings, Thank you, Jessica.
Of course.
We all love those.
All right, I'm going to bed. You guys can stay and chat, but.
We're done. Next meeting.
All right.
Wednesday, 2023 at 7 p.m. Board of Select Chambers, 2nd floor. We will be held via virtual Zoom in accordance with COVID-19. Why do we have it?
Yes. You don't have a long ride home, do you, Jessica? It's pretty short.
Just one flight of stairs.
At 9:15 p.m. I'm making a motion tonight. Second. Jimmy, roll call vote.
Yes, Jim Brown, yes.
Holy Spirit.
James Gates, yes. Thank you, everyone.